Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mia. Today's video is going to be my top 10 reads of 2015. These are not necessarily books that were released in 2015, but books that I read in 2015. My number 10 would be The Ghost Brigades by Scalzi. This is the second book in the All Men's War series. If you're not familiarized with this series, the series features an army of elder people. Basically, there's an intergalactic world that Earth is not quite aware of. Once you hit, I think, 65 years of age, you can enlist to this army. And then once you enlist on this army, you are taken off out of Earth and you are never to return to Earth. But it's such a cool story. Obviously, there are some changes that allows these elders to fight in a war, and it became much more complex, and I'm really enjoying the story. I love the way that Scalzi writes. I like how easy it is to connect with the characters and to be able to envision your surroundings, because he's pretty descriptive, and I just loved it. I love this series, and this so far was my favorite book in the series. Moving up to my number 9, it is Solipsist by Rollins. I got this book as a gift because a friend of mine, one of my best friends, she loves this book. It's one of her favorite books, so she really highly recommended it, and when I read it, I loved it. I don't know if it was the way I was feeling when I read it, but I just really connected with the story. It's about a character who is obviously a solipsist, or he refers to himself as a solipsist. He is this person who views everything in a sort of negative way. It's just a very conflicted personality, and it's just a very, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just really good. I really enjoyed the read. It's not for everybody. If you don't like to read very negative point of views, then perhaps this is not for you, but I personally loved this book. Number 8 is a book that I read quite recently, and I just really like this book. It is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, and it was such a sad story. I mean, everything was so sad, and although, quite frankly, it was not character driven, in my opinion at least, I thought it was more plot driven and story driven, but I really liked it. I don't know, it just made me think a lot, and I thought it was a very deep story. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this story was the strong cultural influence in the book. Was very well done, in my opinion, because I got to learn more about a world that I know nothing about, and that is Afghanistan, and it shows you also the differences in cultures as he moves from Afghanistan to America, and then even more when he returns back to Afghanistan at an older age and sees things through different eyes. It was a very good way of describing how our own perspective of things changes as we get older, and as we go through certain things in our life, you know, it changes the way we view things, and it changes the way we view certain people, you know, and I don't know, it was just a very good story. I really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it. My 7th pick will have to be Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. I just really loved the story. This is a young adult story, and it was so well written, in my opinion. The story was definitely focused on the main purpose of the story, which was revenge or vengeance, whatever you want to call it. It was also a different read for me because everything is very Western on this story, including the dialect, and I just really enjoyed it. The characters were fantastic. I loved the main character, and actually I liked all of the characters, but the main character was fantastic, and I just really enjoyed this story. It was full of action, it was full of vengeance, and it was a great read. My 6th favorite book had to be Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi. I actually loved the entire series, or trilogy, but I think this was my favorite. I'm pretty sure this was my favorite. It was difficult to choose. It was so difficult to choose because I really enjoyed all of the books in the series. This one I think was the best so far because it kind of gave me what I wanted throughout the other two books. This book really did a great job as an ending book. I feel very satisfied with how the story ended, and I can't really tell you too much about this because if I tell you anything about this book, it will kind of spoil the last two books. But it was just great. It gave me what I wanted. I wanted the strength and I wanted the confidence that I didn't see on the first two books, and this one definitely delivered that, in my opinion, so it had to be in this list. In my number 5 pick, I had to go with Saga. Now, I have to say this was one of the most difficult to choose a specific one. Obviously, I couldn't pick one because I absolutely adore every single volume of this comic. This is definitely my favorite comic, period. Okay, like I'm just enjoying this comic so very much. The storyline seems to be getting better and better and better, and the illustrations, the art is fantastic. I'm just really enjoying this story. It's definitely an adult story. It's full of adult language and adult content, but the story, I thought it was fantastic. I can't wait until volume 6. I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. But I think so far it's just the story is getting progressively better and better and better. So my 2 favorite comics from this series of comics, I will have to say, was the volume 4 and the volume 5, because like I said, it's just getting progressively better and better and better, and it's one of those comics that, oh, I can't stop thinking about. And if you don't mind the adult content, please give this comics a try because they're fantastic. On the spot 4, we got A Monster Calls, and this is by Patrick Ness. This was a great read. I mean, I still think to this day about this read because it was fantastic. It was a read about letting go. It was a read about coming to terms with something that is out of your control, and it was portrayed in such a beautiful way. It was just, I don't know, it was such a good book. The illustrations are absolutely out of this world. They're so good. I read this book within like half a day. I just loved it so very much. There's a monster, but the monster is not the bad guy. The monster is basically the one that is helping this person, this boy, understand himself and understand his feelings and forgive himself and be able to move on. Basically, it's such a good story, you guys. It's so good. I really like this book. On spot number 3, this is a series that I've been reading for the last few months, and I am just so fully enjoying. It's getting better and better. It's sort of like Saga, that it just increases in the awesomeness level as the new releases come out, and it is the Throne of Glass series. I got to pick 2 books here because I just couldn't settle with one. I absolutely loved both of these books. This series is by Sarah J. Maas, and the twists and turns were so good, and they just like tore my heart apart. I really love the way that Sarah J. Maas writes. I think it's so easy to read and it's so easy to connect with characters. I feel that it's both character driven and plot driven because the story plot keeps getting more and more complex as the story goes on, and the characters develop so much. I don't know, I'm just really adoring the series. So Assassin's Blade and Crown of Midnight are definitely my favorites so far. On my number 2, I've got The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, because I just absolutely loved this story. I loved this story. This story made my eyes into waterfalls. I could not stop crying. I couldn't even think straight at points. I was just so involved into the story. It's the only story by John Green that I've read, but if his other stories are anything like this one, I understand the hype about this author. It pulled me in. I felt that I was just sucked into this book and into the story, and just became a part of it. I was so in love with the characters. The twist in the story freaking destroyed me. I didn't see it coming. Not quite. I saw it coming slowly, but once it hit, it was just like, wait, what? That was just a thought. I didn't know this was actually gonna happen. It's a romance story, and it follows these two kids who are both trying to get over cancer. Everyone should read this. If you haven't read this, please buy it and read it. Get it out of the library. I don't know what you're gonna do, but do read it. Number 1 had to be The Hymn That Dreamed with Flying, and this is by Sumi Hwang. I read this book in Spanish. They have it in English. It's a very short story, but I can't take this story out of my head. I can't take the characters in the story out of my head. It was just such a good story. It is told through the perspective of animals. It's about motherhood and relationships amongst family and the sacrifices that mothers make or parents have to make at times. And it was such a beautiful story. It was just a story about how dreams change. I don't know. I found so much value in this story that I can't really express all of it, but it was basically, you know, like how your own personal dreams change. Like you can have this dream of becoming this one person or living in this specific place, and then once that dream is reached, then you develop other dreams and other dreams. Like dreams are endless, and there are so much worth dreaming about. And I just loved this story. It was so emotional. I thought it was written in a beautiful way. I think the use of words was perfect. The use of space was fantastic because there's so much feeling and emotion and so much story within these few pages. I just loved the way Sumi Hwang wrote this book. I want to read more because I thought it was fantastic, and I will definitely be rereading this story soon. I've been trying to get everyone to read this story, so please read it and tell me what you think of it, because I just loved it so very much. I loved it so very much. It had to be my number 1. I would have felt wrong given it any other position because it was the best book I read in 2015. It was phenomenal, and everyone should read it. Please read it because it's beautiful. It's fantastic. Very well written. You'll like it. Please read it. There you guys have it. These are my top 10 reads of 2015. I can't wait to see what I read in 2016. I'm super excited for the new year, a new beginning, new opportunities. There is so much in a fresh start, and I feel that every year is a fresh start. You can change your attitude, you can change your perspective on things, and yes, you can do that every day, but I feel that on New Year's is just special because you feel motivated to do things differently and you feel inspired, and it's the end of another year. You overcame another year's worth of obstacles and another year's full of great memories and not so great memories, and another year that took part in making you who you are today. And it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you very soon.